Welcome to the Scoop World Order, a very Buckeye Scoop World Order. The Buckeyes have 14 players drafted as the draft is still rolling along. Still a shot for Seth McLaughlin to potentially get picked. What an amazing day for the program. Great day for Nevada and I as well. Thank you for a little wager we're about to settle. And also, our Steelers are the best drafting team in NFL history. They take Jack Sawyer and Will Howard. Incredible for those guys to remain together. And we had a transfer portal tackle. This is a loaded up show. Again, we appreciate you guys being a huge part of what we do. Hope you guys having a great Saturday. It's a little cooler up here in Columbus, but again, just an amazing day for Ohio State. Thrilling day for Jack Sawyer. And then Will Howard gets reunited with him in Pittsburgh. The Browns took Shador Sanders. I thought they had an incredible draft. So outside of the Dylan Gabriel pick, that was kind of head scratching, but they had Quinshon Judkins. Really happy for the guys. They went to great organizations. The Colts for JT was great. The Arizona stockpiling Buckeyes, they added Denzel Burke and Cody Simon. Just a great day for the program. And also adding a really nice looking tackle who's a Central Ohio kid from West Virginia. We're going to get into all that. I'm going to throw it to you, Nevada, first, because I don't even know where to start, because this is a great day. I'm going to start calling you Steeler Buck because your boy Will Howard is now there, and they're going to sign Aaron Rodgers, and they have Jack Sawyer. I mean, if they sign Rod Smith and trade for Trey Henderson, man, it might be a wrap. But what are your thoughts so far in the NFL draft, and what is an incredible day for Ryan Day and the Ohio State football program?
Well, you got to say, I'm a lifetime Browns fan from a family of Browns fans, and I grew up hating the Steelers. Like I was the one that rooted for Turkey Jones and thought he was framed when he spiked Terry Bradshaw on his head and got the penalty, and when Gerald Irons speared him in the back. Having they're such a smart organization, and I just love the way they do business. I do, and that's coming from a Browns fan. So for them to go out and pick Will Howard, the Pennsylvania boy, in the sixth round was such a great pick. And the Browns trade the pick and get a second round pick, a first round pick, and then draft Mason Graham. I'm thrilled with that. They get an extra second round pick, and then they draft Dylan Gabriel, the Smurf, in the third round, and then draft Shador Sanders in the fifth. I love the Sanders pick in the fifth, the Dylan Gabriel pick in the third. Now you drafted two quarterbacks. Do you not realize you drafted two quarterbacks? So dumb. You literally flushed the third round pick, which is again such a Browns thing to do. Hate and my respect for the way they do business, and I'm so excited about the way that the draft worked out for the Buckeyes. 14 players taken basically in the first like five rounds and nine picks into the six. So incredible performance by the Buckeyes. What a great calling card for them with future recruits. What a great aspirational thing for the rest of the guys on the team. Very energizing for the entire organization when you have your work recognized like that. Yeah, so just the draft was just a virtuoso performance by Ryan Day and the entire staff and Mickey Marotti and everybody, because I mean, you're talking about they're one pick away. I don't know if they'll get it or not, but I mean, I guess Seth McLaughlin would probably be the most likely guy to be picked. Need one more pick to get to 15, which would be unbelievable. But yeah, won our bet today, which was really nice. Always nice when we win, and the Buckeyes did well. So yeah, and then we get a surprise, pick out of the portal, which is
Mm-hmm.
to get Justin Terry from West Virginia, offensive lineman, local Ohio kid, local Columbus kid, to come back. I think this kind of falls in the category of when you expand the roster to 105 roster players, or however you want to look at it in terms of roster players. We've always talked about what area would you kind of goose, what area would you kind of add more guys, more bodies, more things. And we've always talked about it being the offensive line. Offensive line, it's a development position. You want guys that, we've talked about Corey Linsley not starting a game at Ohio State till his fourth year. Sometimes it takes longer with the big guys. So Ohio State is clearly taking that attitude. They're stockpiling offensive linemen left and right, despite having record depth in the room last year. they're just adding guys left and right. And this is a guy that Todd Bone was familiar with, had recruited him, previously before he went to West Virginia. So when he had a chance, when he came in the portal, liked him a lot, grabbed him, and now he's a Buckeye. So I'm thrilled with stuff like this because I just don't think you can get enough guys like this. I don't think you can have enough, good players going like that. And Ohio State, pulled it off. So really, really happy for him.
Yeah, I got his tape on. He's a big kid, physical. I like watching his tape. And the thing where Ohio State can really exploit kind of their brand and what they are is that, there are so many kids in the state of Ohio that grow up dreaming of being Ohio State Buckeyes. I was one of them. A lot of you guys probably wanted to play football at Ohio State. It's a dream. So the hard part is in recruiting is you can't take everybody. And so that's a tough deal. And so there's a lot of kids that have to settle for West Virginia or Virginia Tech or Purdue or Michigan State or whatever. And, the thing that's great about the portal now is that, if a kid was kind of a fringe-ish type guy, a project type guy, there's a shot that he can bounce back and actually become a Buckeye, which again, I think is great because again, the roster fluidity is a thing. And, when a kid understands his role, like look, this isn't a transfer portal kid that is demanding a ton of NIL money. He's not demanding to start. He's not demanding, they're saying, hey, you can come in and develop and work and, we'll see, how good you can do. And again, when you've got a big athlete who's from Pickerington, we've had a lot of success there, obviously. You just watch the draft and you see Jack, and next year you'll see Sonny Styles, and you see some of these guys that are from the area that have done great. Obviously, the Hamilton brothers have been incredible. It's awesome. Like for a kid like this, I'm thrilled for kids like this that get that chance. Like Philip Daniels, the same thing. Like he's a little bit of I'd say a higher tier prospect right now, just because he played a little bit last year, started 4 games for Minnesota. But when you can get these bounce back kids, man, it's really something that I love, because I just know the disappointment a lot of these kids probably had when they didn't get offered by Ohio State and they had to go to West Virginia and they had to act excited about it, even though they probably weren't. And then all of a sudden they get a shot to come back and bounce back. And like I said, I think it keeps the guys on the bottom of Ohio State's roster kind of on their toes, because it's not like you get the offer out of high school and then all of a sudden you've got it made. Now they can come in and replace you essentially with a kid that might have worked out better elsewhere or played earlier elsewhere. So it's intriguing, man. I mean, I love competition. Obviously when you go to Ohio State, you have to feast on competition. Like you have to be ready to eat your opponents, basically, because it's just like they're always bringing in people to replace you, and now it's even easier with the portal, but it was always like that when I was there too. So I love adding kids like this. I love because the other thing is again, there is a salary cap, there is a finite amount of money to go around, and when you take a kid from Pickerington, he's not going to cost much. Like he's not going to cost nearly as much as a kid you might get from out of state or whatever, and he wants to be here. And he's here for the long haul. And so again, I think this is a great ad. Again, I love these kids. And who knows, he might develop into a great player here. Again, these young guys, the more of them that you can take, because again, people they annoy me when they talk about, well, you can't take that project offensive lineman from Ohio. And I'm like, well, every offensive lineman I've ever seen is a project. I mean, Taylor Decker was a project. He was a 4-star, but his first year, like he wasn't ready to play. He had to develop. And then by year 2, he was really good. And then, year 4, he's a 1st-round pick. But, these guys all start off as projects, unless you're Laramie Tunsil, maybe Paris Johnson. Most of those guys, they need a lot of work. But again, I love the competition. You can't have enough big athletic bodies on a team. So this kid fits the bill. I'm excited for him. Like I said, I love when these kids get a chance to live out their dream. Any kid from Central Ohio or the state of Ohio wants to play for Ohio State. So anytime a kid gets to live that dream, I'm excited for him. And I think that those kids go a little bit harder. And I've talked about this where, when you get offered by Ohio State and you're from the state of Ohio, it's not always great. There's a lot of pressure, man, because you don't want to be the bust. You don't want to be the guy that didn't deserve the offer, or you weren't good enough to play there, whatever. So it's tough. But I mean, those guys, they screwed in, pretty good to make sure that they're ready to go. I'm just super excited about this kid. Nevada, we could flip back over to the draft a little bit. What was your favorite pick of the draft, and you could do the Ohio State thing, or if there's another pick that stood out. But I know the one I think you're gonna say. But what was your favorite pick of the NFL draft?
Well, what one do you think I'm going to say?
Oh, Trey Henderson to the Patriots, of course. Not even
I, I
close.
mean, I do like the pick. I mean, I'm probably going to surprise you. I'm probably going to say I'm I'm probably going to say Will Howard to the Steelers. that I don't know why that pick just made me so happy. That was just so perfect. So because here's the thing, the draft, like whenever something makes sense in the draft, it never happens. Like I watch the
Hmm.
draft and I'm always like, okay, this team needs this. This guy's available. Oh, they're going to pick this guy. I know they're going to pick him. And they don't pick him, and it never makes sense. The draft always zigs when you expect it to zag, and I can't ever make sense of it. So when the Steelers pick came up in the 6th round, I'm like, Will's from Pittsburgh. He's a big dude. He's a big, sturdy guy. They've been making a run on. Look, every pick that Steelers made was practically from the Big Ten. They're gonna take Will Howard. They just have to take Will Howard. And then, sure enough, it was Will Howard. And that was the pick that went from 13 to 14, so it won us our bet. And so Will Howard delivered once again for us, kind of like the national championship game, where when we needed a big play, Will Howard, Jeremiah Smith for the championship. And when we needed to win our bet. We were $1,000, $2,000 bet, a lot of money. Will Howard delivered for us and went out and got himself drafted. So I'm going to go with Will Howard to the Steelers. 6th round was my favorite pick of the draft because I could just see it. I knew they were going to say that name, and they said it, and that made me very happy.
You're like, he's gonna win you money one more time on his way out the door, on his way out of Ohio State.
Will's the best.
There isn't a team in the league that drafts better than the Steelers. It's like astonishing how good they are, because they take the right guy, they take great character. Like, again, they took Jack and Will, so there you've got two great players, two leaders, basically Will kind of was like a pseudo captain, but basically two captains, great value picks. I think Will Howard's going to be really good in the NFL. I mean, I think he's in the best situation. They don't have a quarterback, like, at all. I mean, obviously they're holding out for Rodgers, but it's like, Aaron Rodgers is 44 years old. So, we could see Will Howard this year. Like, I think that situation's amazing. I thought the Dylan Gabriel pick was the dumbest pick I've ever seen, maybe in the history of the NFL draft. You take a 5'9" quarterback in the 3rd round, and I'm like, oh my God, that's so Browns. But then they did take Quinn Ewers, which I loved, and I thought Shador Sanders in the 5th round was a great pick. I mean, he has no guaranteed money. I mean, he's got like a dinky signing bonus, and he doesn't have any leverage. Like, if you take him in the 1st round, and you got his idiot policy all around him, and the pod, all the stuff that comes with him, it's like, with that 1st round here, you're locked into a pretty significant number. 5th round is like nothing. So I liked that pick. I love Donnie to the Vikings. I thought that was a really nice pick by them. Their offense is so explosive. And Josh Simmons to the Chiefs was just like a godsend because their protection was so bad last year. They've went through so many left tackles since Orlando Brown left. And they get the guy that I think is the best tackle in the draft. So yeah, I thought it was a really good draft. Like, again, I root for, with these teams and these players, I root for the players to go to the best organizations possible. And like Tyreek went to Detroit, made me smile. The Colts are a great organization, so that's great for JT. I think Arizona is up and coming just because their head coach played at St. Ignatius, so that's where Charles and Anthony Gonzalez, and we've had a ton of Ignatius guys come through Ohio State, Tommy Eichenberg. Those guys, they took Denzel, they took Cody Simon, they already had Marvin, they got Paris. I mean, they've got a nice little, cadre of Buckeyes out there. So yeah, I thought this was, I was just like strangely happy. I was really happy for these guys. I'm very tight with Jack Sawyer and his family, and they're over the moon, obviously. And I talked to his dad all the time, and I told him, I was like, look, the only thing I hope for you is I hope that Jack goes somewhere close. Because again, it's just so cool when you can drive to Pittsburgh to watch your kid. Like, you don't have to fly to Seattle. You don't have to fly to, and you can do that. That's fine. It's the NFL. It's part of the gig, and you'll go to the road games and stuff. But to be able to get in the car and drive 3 hours and go watch your kid play in the NFL is amazing. And I was so happy for Jack Sawyer. And watch, he'll turn into a monster and he'll outperform the guys at the Browns draft. But he gets to see Mason Graham in a rivalry again. So what's not to love about that? Nevada, what else did you glean? Was there any other picks, even if it was not Ohio State related, that you liked, didn't like, shook your head at? Your thoughts?
Well, I'm just the fact that Quinn Ewers is still sitting there and hasn't been drafted yet. I mean, this was a guy that if you go back in the Wayback Machine a couple of years ago, you and I both thought this guy would be a top of the first round type of talent. And yeah, he's had some injuries and yeah, he's had some problems, but it's like, I've been saying for years, and you guys know, if you've been listening to this podcast, Kirk's heard this diatribe a million times from me. I'm like, if a quarterback is not a top of the draft type of guy, you are better off drafting a quarterback later in the draft, getting a guy out of free agency, or doing whatever. You can get good quarterback play, decent enough quarterback play, other ways than just risking it all on quarterback. And for years, the NFL teams have ignored that, and they just drafted. Last year, you look at everybody drafted a quarterback. In the first round, 5 guys or 6 guys went, and J.J. McCarthy goes in the top 10 picks. I mean, just craziness. And it's like this year, it's like the NFL, like all the teams finally figured out what I've been saying for years. If they're not the first pick in the draft, you don't need to waste your picks on them. So you look at all the quarterbacks. I mean, so this wasn't just a Will Howard thing. I mean, McCord went to the 6th round. Quinn Ewers is into the. I mean, Quinn Ewers is going behind Graham Mertz. I mean, Graham Mertz got drafted before Quinn Ewers. Make it make sense. I mean, I don't understand. You're talking about Quinn was a perfect recruit, the first perfect recruit in the history of recruiting. Goes to Ohio State, goes to Texas, and plays well, and now I can't even get a sniff. I mean, it's wild the way forward. And Shador Sanders, I mean, we've never seen. I mean, the Aaron Rodgers thing we've talked about for years about how he went from 1st to 24th in the first round and how sad he was sitting there in the green room and how that went. I mean, Sanders thought he was going to go first, and he went in the 5th round. I mean, yeah, and like I said, for the Browns to draft another quarterback, and Dylan Gabriel, especially the way that the quarterbacks were running, or I should say not running, they didn't need to draft Dylan Gabriel in the 3rd round. I mean, you can look at that now, and you can go, there is not a chance in the world that any other team was going to draft Dylan Gabriel anytime soon. And for them to reach into the 3rd round and take him, a guy that'll never play a meaningful snap for the Browns. Never. I'll put the odds on that at like -1,000. He'll never play a meaningful snap for the Browns. And they wasted a 3rd round pick on him. And that's the stuff that frustrates me as a Browns fan is when I see teams do silly things like that. And then I see teams like the Steelers. I mean, I'm a Packers fan also. I go back to when, the Packers didn't get J.J. Watt. Obviously, J.J. Watt comes on to become an iconic player. And then his brother T.J. Watt comes, and the Packers have the pick. There, T.J. Watt's right there. They don't draft him, and then the Steelers get him. It's just like, certain things you just kind of shake your head, when stuff like that happens. But no, what a great 3 days for the Buckeyes. I thought the draft being in Green Bay was so perfect, just because they will never, ever, ever be another franchise like Green Bay in the history of the world. I mean, community owned, major league franchise, not some D-level team in Austria or something. You're talking about the highest level sport in the NFL, and it's community owned, and in a little town of 50,000 people or whatever it is. So I'd have the draft there. I thought was absolutely perfect, and 200,000 people. They had 200,000 people that are more. Obviously 3 times the population of the city of Green Bay there for the draft. So, what a crazy experience, and what a great day for all of us Ohio State fans.
Yeah, I thought that it was interesting. They had a kid that was like at the draft today that the Packers took, and it was like in like the 5th round, and like I don't think I've ever seen that before. He came out on the stage and had the hat, and I was like, how'd they do that? Like, did they fly the guy in last night and say, hey, we're going to take you in the 5th round, and nobody else. It was a defensive end from, I think, Texas or Clemson or one of the orange teams. I don't know. Well, I mean, Cam Miller a quarterback from North Dakota State just got drafted by the Raiders over Quinn Ewers. Like, I mean, and again, you guys know I'm fond of Quinn, and I've known his family, and I don't think I've seen anything like the thing with Quinn. I mean, Quinn was all SEC this year. Yeah, I mean, they played us in the Final Four. Like, I mean, I know he had that sack at the end that was brutal, but like, I mean, God bless. Like, it's like and again, I've lived this. You have to understand. I was the 252nd pick, so I still had 30 more picks left before I got called in 2008 in my draft year. So like, this is a miserable part of the draft for a lot of these kids. Miserable. I mean, it's miserable for Jack Sawyer. I mean, Jack Sawyer thought he was going to go second, third round, and then he sits through that whole night. Then he goes today. But again, it's all about going to the right place. And I feel like with Jack, he can learn from Cam Hayward. He can learn from TJ Watt. I mean, that's all you want, you know, Alex Highsmith. I mean, they've always had great edges in Pittsburgh. Tough players do great there. I'm over the moon that Will Howard's going there because he just seems like a perfect fit. He's 6'5", 240, like an AFC North quarterback. And of course he goes to the best organization in the NFL, the Steelers. Like they do everything the right way. It's just crazy. I'm like you. I'm a Browns fan. Grew up a Browns fan, and I've watched them. I've watched them draft and sign free agents and just disasters, and it's just been crazy. And then, but I actually thought the Browns killed it in the draft. I mean, honestly, mentally, I would probably feel better in the draft if they would have taken Shador in the third round and Dylan Gabriel in the 5. I don't think there's any way to excuse taking Dylan Gabriel, other than they probably didn't think Shador was going to be there when they picked later on in the 5th round. But I don't know. Like the Quinn Ewers thing, I mean, obviously the Shador thing, where they thought he was going to be a top 5 pick, was the story of the draft. But Quinn Ewers not getting drafted into the 7th round is crazy. And honestly, I think it's going to be a telltale sign for a lot of these kids, man, where it's like, you know, he had a huge NIL deal on the table to go play at multiple schools. I'm talking Michigan, Oregon, and substantially more than he'll make this first year in the NFL. Substantially more. And I always tell kids, I'm like, look, if you're ready to go. If you're not sure, you better stay and you better get another year of seasoning. Because I did that. I stayed for my senior year and I loved it. I had the time of my life, and it was first team All-American and beat Michigan, was a captain. Like, if I'd have left, because I had a 4th round grade after my junior year. And it was weird because I had a way better season my senior. I played 10 times better my senior year, and I dropped. So I went into the 7th round, which I hurt my knee at the Senior Bowl and had to have knee surgery, so that didn't help. But yeah, everything works out for a reason. And like I said, I'm so happy for these kids, and for Jack Sawyer to be in Pittsburgh. I mean, eventually I might actually go to an NFL game and go over there with Lyle and see him. But I'm just so excited for the families, because I remember what draft day was like, and it is fun to get drafted. And no, it is not better to, you know, there's always this time of the day where it's better to be undrafted and pick your spots. Like, no, you want to get drafted. Trust me. I've been there. Everybody wants to get drafted. You just want to get a seat at the table and go try to earn a living for a few years, as long as you can in the league. So, we got a super chat. Let me see what we got real quick. All right. Sergio Sama, what is up, brother? Thanks for the 5. Will Howard and Jack are literally a perfect fit for the Steelers, and then the Browns left it. Yeah, they literally are. I mean, I could think of 2 better character guys than Jack and Will, and I'm just thrilled they get to do it together. Like, I think that's going to be magical, because, you know, when you're in the NFL, you do a lot of stuff as rookies, and you're kind of in your own little country. When you're a rookie, you're kind of over here, and then the vets are over here, and then once the season starts, they kind of blend everything in. But you do a lot of stuff as rookies, and so for Jack and Will to be able to do all that together, I think it's amazing. Like, I love it. I'm so happy for him, and I think that's something that is going to be really special. Nevada, your thoughts again, Sergio? I appreciate you, my dude. He says, Will Howard and Jack Sawyer are literally a perfect fit for the Steelers, and then the Browns laugh out loud. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, well, yeah. I mean, it's funny when Jack got drafted by the Steelers. I'm like, that is such Steelers to see him in the uniform. Like, Jack was born to be a Steeler. And Bill Howard, I think players just fit an organization. I certainly do, but that's not by accident. The Steelers are drafting. Look who they drafted. They drafted all Big Ten guys. Like I think like 6 or 7 picks or whatever, or 6 or whatever. Every pick was a Big Ten guy, and they're obviously trying to fit to an identity. I've been saying that about the Browns for years. Browns pick to an identity. Stick with draft a lot, primarily, not exclusively, but primarily Midwestern type of kids with a focus on Ohio State, Michigan, Notre Dame. Big Ten players that have that identity of that big, tough Cleveland Browns team, and they've never embraced that, but the Steelers did, and I thought that was perfect. And I want to go off on a tangent here, but go back on the Browns drafting 2 quarterbacks. The number of times that teams have ever drafted 2 quarterbacks in the same draft, it's not a lot of times. I mean, it's happened, but it's not a lot of times. I don't think it's ever happened with like a third round and a 5th round pick. Like normally it's like a first pick and then maybe like the last pick in the draft or something like that. But to do it with a 3rd and a 5th round pick, I mean, I think the Browns broke new ground today. I think it might have been like the highest expenditure of draft capital on 2 quarterbacks ever in the history of the NFL. So,
the only one I can think of off the top of my head is the year that the Redskins took RG3. They took Kirk Cousins in the 3rd round, which was weird. I mean, nobody had ever seen that before. That's literally the only other time I can think of doing that, though.
Yeah, that definitely trumps it for sure. But this was weird, man. This was certain. And like you said, if they just draft a safety or Xavier Watts or whomever in the 3rd round, and then Sanders is there in the 5th round, it's literally almost a perfect draft for the Browns. Like you literally almost look at the draft. The Browns like won the draft, and they still might have, but you literally threw away a 3rd round pick. That's high value. You're getting a really good player in the 3rd round, and Dylan Gabriel. Nobody was drafting Dylan Gabriel. And look at the other quarterbacks that are going. The fact that Quinn Ewers is still on the board right now, Dylan Gabriel might very well still be on the board right now. But possible. I'm not saying he would be, but possible. And the Browns felt they had to get him in the 3rd round. Serenity now.
Well, yeah, that one, when these guys are out of the certain kind of analytical frame, it's like Tez Johnson is still on the board. And that was the guy that torched us the first game and we shut him down the second game. But he ran like a 4.6 or 4.7, a really slow 4.65 or something. And he's like 5'9", 150 pounds. And he ran like a 4.65 or something crazy. 4.55. It's like, he's not going to get drafted because he's, for as small as he is, like if you're that small, you have to run 4.3. You have to be like Tavon Austin and fly. But yeah, I don't, because they signed Flacco and they traded for Cody Pickett, so you have 4 quarterbacks plus Deshaun, who's probably not going to play this year with his Achilles. So I mean, you don't normally carry 4 guys on the roster. So do you cut Cody Pickett and run with Shador and Dylan Gabriel? Because once you cut one of those guys, they're exposed to waivers. Unless you're going to carry 4 quarterbacks. Again, that's the thing is like you probably can't cut any of those guys. You can't cut Shador; he'll get claimed. So I mean, it's bizarre roster management, to say the least. But yeah, I thought the Browns obviously you root for the Jaguars to go 0-16, and that turns into the first pick in the draft. But I thought that they had an incredible draft. And I think that as bad as their defense was last year, adding Mason Graham, and Mason Graham's a really good player. I mean, I got to give him credit because I've watched him enough, and he's good. He's gonna be a force for that defense.
Mason Graham is a heck of a player. I mean, he is a heck of a
yeah.
And you look at that defense for Michigan. I mean, man, they had Graham went in the 1st round, Grant went in the 1st round. That defensive end went fairly high. I mean, that was
Will
right
Johnson
at them.
went.
Yeah, they had a lot of good players. I mean, you look at that Michigan team from 2023 where they had the 14 guys drafted or whatever it was. 4 of those were in the 7th round and 2 were by Harbaugh in an obvious attempt to break some sort of record or whatever he was doing by padding their draft stats. but to follow it up with more players drafted this year, and I mean, truth be told, that was a pretty good Michigan team. That they had a lot of draftable players on that team, and specifically on that defensive line. So yeah, no, I love the Browns getting him because again, big Midwestern kid, defensive lineman, played at the highest level, played really well, productive. I mean, I think those are the types of picks that the Browns need to be making. And if they flame out, they don't work out, then so be it. But I did like that pick a lot.
Yeah, I agree. Ohio State also hosted a couple of transfer offensive tackles. Jane Ball and Orion Irving are here. I think they're still trying to take one more. I love the portal, man, because again, we're at 14 scholarship offensive linemen and trying to get up to 15, 16. We're at 15 now, which is great. With adding Justin Terry, he's 6'5", 330. He's a big dude. So this has been a great day. I mean, again, this has been like just an amazing weekend for Ohio State. We're going to see if Seth McLaughlin gets picked here late. Obviously, coming off the Achilles is tough, but he's a Remington winner, so he'll get signed as a priority free agent pretty quickly. But they're getting into the 7th round. They're getting into Kirk Barton territory, baby. But yeah, I like I like where these guys landed. Just to give you guys a quick rundown of where guys ended up. And our friend Kyle McCord went to the Eagles in the 6th round, so Derek can be at all the practices. That'll be great. Ty Hamilton went to the Los Angeles Rams in the 5th round. Jack Story went 4th round to the Steelers. Lathan Ransom went 4th round to the Panthers. I love that. Cody Simon at 4th round to the Cardinals. Judkins, Quinshawn went to the Browns. Trey went to the Patriots. JT Tuimoloau went to the Colts. I love that fit too. That's a great program. Again, I just like these guys going to these great organizations. Then obviously you have Donnie with the Vikings and Josh Simmons with the Chiefs, which we touched on. Yeah, I mean, I think these guys all have a chance to make an impact, including Will Howard. I mean, Will Howard, he went to the best situation, I think, out of almost anybody because they have no quarterbacks on the roster. I mean, obviously everyone's presuming they're gonna sign Aaron Rodgers, but like, I mean, Will Howard's gonna be taking some serious reps in the summer because is Rodgers gonna come to all the offseason stuff, the OTAs and the mini camps? He might not, and again, I don't know who else they have on that roster, but after they got rid of Justin Fields and they got rid of Russell Wilson, Will Howard's got a chance to, potentially do some stuff in the summer. Again, I think it's a tremendous situation. I'm just,
Skylar Thompson and Mason Rudolph. That's the quarterback room.
Yeah, so that's about as easy as you could ever get. And Mason Rudolph, I think he was at the Titans. I mean, that's because again, like when you're in the draft, like you want to go somewhere where you could potentially have an impact. Obviously, I mean every team picks you, think that you're going to make it and do whatever. But like, what is the room really like? Like, if you get drafted behind 2 Pro Bowl tackles, like you're probably not going to play a lot. Or if you're sitting behind a Pro Bowl quarterback, you're probably not going to play a lot. But when you got to beat out those guys, I think Will Howard's better than those 2 guys. Better than Mason Rudolph. Mason Rudolph's terrible. He's been terrible. But he's one of those guys that he'll play 10 years in the league and you'll just have no idea how he played 10 years in the league. But he did. So he's been kicking around for a while. And
he's the one that Myles Garrett almost killed with his helmet.
Yeah. Yes. Myles Garrett swung his helmet.
That's the one that
killed him.
Allegedly said the racial slur, and then Myles Garrett forgot that he said the racial slur, but then he remembered 2 weeks later that he said the racial slur. Was that the way that?
Yes, in the modern NFL where there's microphones everywhere and the players are all mic'd up, somehow nobody is able to find the racial slur that was allegedly said. So
Myles forgot about it. Forgot about that when he apologized, and he remembered it 2 weeks later. And he's like, "Wait a second, I apologized to that guy. He called me the N-word." It's like, "Oh no, Myles. Oh, Myles. I think you made that up, Myles. I think you did."
I think that might have been a faux pas by you, our good friend Myles. I misremember it. And I'm like, the Pouncey, or Marquise Pouncey didn't hear it, or any of the other guys that were on the field during that play, they didn't hear him say that. I was like, I don't know. I don't think he said that. I mean, God bless. People are so dumb sometimes. All right, we're at pick 220 in Nevada. Does Quinn Ewers get drafted in the next 30 picks? There's about 35 picks left.
He's on. Has he reached Barton pick level yet, or is he? Is he?
No, I was like, I think I was like 252. They're at 220 right now, so we're not in
So
we're not in
we're gonna have
we're not in Barton territory yet.
over under who would be drafted first, Kirk Barton or Quinn Ewers? That's we'll set the line at the Barton line, like the
I
Mendoza
just
line.
I just can't see there being 30 more picks without Quinn getting taken. I mean, he's been at like you know how they had that like best available board, like Mel Kiper's best. I mean, he's been like the second pick on that for the last hour, I think. So these picks keep rolling by. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's going to be interesting, but I don't know. I mean, is Braves going to take him? The Patriots are picking. I want to see if Seth goes too. That'd be great. 'Cause that'd break the record. That'd be the perfect ending to the 2014 is if Seth McLaughlin goes, because he's the only guy left that can possibly go. I think G. Scott's not going to get drafted. Seth might get stashed. It'd be interesting to see if Vegas is coming up with Chip Kelly being out there. But yeah, well, Eddie Dagestan Poppy picks tonight for the UFC fight.
Yeah, David Onama and Carlos Prates. So we've got David Onama, the local boy. This is a UFC Kansas City event, and David Onama is from Kansas City. So when you have the local hometown fighters, they're obviously a little extra juiced up, and I think the refs get influenced because every time they throw a punch, the crowd goes crazy. So David Onama, and then Carlos Prates versus Machado Gary in the headliner. That's going to be a heck of a fight. So excited about that. And the Cavaliers just violated the Heat today. I don't know if you saw that, won by 40.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to say something that's terrible, and it's to say it, but when Darius Garland is not in the lineup, the Cavaliers are so much better defensively that it's almost impossible for the other teams to score. And that's kind of what happened today. They just completely just throttled. Darius Garland was hurt. He was hurt today, so he didn't play. And so I'm a big Darius Garland guy. I like Darius Garland, but I'm going to say the sacrilege. I think the Cavaliers are better without Darius Garland. There, I went and said it.
I mean, trade him, baby. Go get a pick for him.
Oh, they'd get a bunch for him for sure.
Yeah, they get a lot for him. RJ Story, thanks for the 5, brother. Hope you're doing great. Make sure you guys go follow his excellent YouTube page of Pink Floyd piano covers. I listen to those while I'm chilling, doing my work at night. Proposed NFL team draft strategy. With each pick, select the best available player from out of the 4 CFP semifinal teams. What are your thoughts, Nevada? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, look. I've taken a kind of a hybrid of say more focus. I've said take the best Buckeye available for the past year, and if the Browns just forgot that to fire their entire draft staff, just took the best Buckeye available every year, they'd have a much better team than they do now. So take one of the top 4 players in that. I think there's a lot of wisdom to that. I think sometimes these pro football teams overthink these things. I think they try to make it a little bit too complicated, and I think that would be a really, really solid strategy.
I think that they just get a little too obsessed with like analytics sometimes, and they don't realize like what a great football. That's why I was so happy that Cody Simon and Lathan Ransom, 2 of the most underrated Buckeyes in the history of the program, both went in the 4th round. Because there was talk like when we went into this bet, me and you, this bet with Yoder, were like, well, we need Lathan Ransom and Cody Simon to get drafted to put us over the top. And it turns out Will Howard was the guy that put us over the top because we thought he would have been gone in the 3rd or 4th round. But I love the Ohio State thing and the Browns. They did take Quinshawn, thank God, but they mystify me because I feel like they've got like a deflector shield on taking Ohio State kids, and so do the Bengals. I mean, the Bengals took Sam Hubbard, and obviously Billy Price didn't pan out the way that they wished that he would have, but the Bengals are very, very SEC-ish. They love taking SEC guys, and that was kind of always their MO. But yeah, I would draft, I like seeing guys play against good players. So I draft guys from Texas, guys from Georgia, guys from Ohio State, Michigan. Like I said, I think Mason Graham, is whatever, but I mean, he was a dog against us, man. He was tough. So, I like a pick like that because I feel like he's going to be, a culture builder. He's tough. They couldn't stop a nosebleed last year running, against the run. So he's going to add a lot of value there. But yeah, I mean, I could go get with the Final Four, except for I don't. There's not usually a ton of talent at Notre Dame, but it was Notre Dame, Texas, Georgia, us, Penn State. But yeah, I mean, like you see how much draft talent was on those 4 teams alone. Obviously, I mixed up the Georgia thing because they lost in the round before that. But yeah, I like the playoffs, man, because I think you get so much good scouting done because you're watching so much good on good football. Not to mention with the pressure and the more big games that we get to see. That's why I'm so excited about potential expansion. The better everything is. I want to see these great matchups, and that's why the college football has literally never been better. Nevada, do you think this is the last thing I'll leave with this Quinn Ewers free fall right now, which is still kind of crazy to me? Do you think that this will have more quarterbacks coming back in the portal for another year to potentially take an NIL deal? Because I know for a fact he had a humongous deal on the table from multiple schools, and it's like you look at this one, he's gonna be seventh round pick, man. Your signing bonus is gonna be 70, 80 grand, maybe 100 grand. I don't know what it is now. I mean, my bonus was like 40 grand when I signed. So I mean, that's not a ton of money. It's not the luxury and the riches that you dream of when you're hoping to get drafted in the league. Whereas the first round guys are going to sign $35 million deals. Do you think it's going to make more guys stay in school for the NIL money?
Well, I'm glad you circled back on that because I thought you made a great point earlier talking about. I mean, this is a whole new world that we're kind of getting into where college football in a lot of cases is going to be more lucrative to play than the NFL. And certainly for a guy like Quinn could have probably got $8, $9, $10 million to play at Oregon next year. And instead he went to the league to chase his dream, and it hasn't worked out. And that's a pretty significant financial miss right there. And I think for a lot of guys, a lot of players are going to look at it because we know how much some of these players are getting to play in college right now. And it's interesting. I mean, before, you go back 20 years ago and you've been following the team and had friends, and if I bought a kid a ham sandwich, I'd have been banned from the program. The kid would have been suspended forever, and we'd had big problems. And now you can get paid more money to play in college than you can in the NFL. So it's a crazy world that we're into. But I think it's absolutely going to have a huge impact on guys in these decisions, because not only do you have a chance to develop more, have the time of your life, do all the things that you want to do in terms of college football, but you can actually make more money, and in some cases make a lot more money. So yeah, I think that's something. And as a fan of college football, people can bemoan the professionalization of the sport and other things going on, but for me, it's like anything that drives guys back to Ohio State to play more college football, I'm about that, because as much as I'm a Browns fan, as much as I'm a Packers fan, as much as I'm a fan of the NFL, I'm 100 times more a fan of college football in general and Ohio State specifically. So I just want to see guys in college football longer, and I definitely think with NIL and with these things, that's definitely going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, the league minimum in the NFL is $840,000, which is is obviously tremendous money. It's amazing money to make as a 22-year-old. A 6th-round signing bonus is between $150,000 and $220,000, depending on if you're the first pick of the round or last pick of the round. So Will Howard is going to make less money playing for the Steelers this year than he did playing for Ohio State last year. That is a fact, and Quinn Ewers is going to make way less money than he made at Texas last year. So, I mean, it's, what I like it to now, again, this does not apply to the stone cold JJ Smith first overall pick. I mean, if JJ was in this year's draft, he'd have been the first pick overall. He'd have gone ahead of Travis Hunter. He'd have been a 19-year-old. But if you're not that guy and you're Jack Sawyer, you're Will Howard, you're Cody Simon, whoever, you basically get a second signing bonus by staying for your senior year and getting an NIL package, a retention package. So, it's crazy. But again, I always told guys, I'm like, look, the NFL is always going to be there. Now, if you're JJ, you got to go. You can't risk a knee. You can't risk any sort of injury. But if you're just like if you're Jack or you're Will Howard or you're not a fringe guy, but you're a guy that's not a stone cold top 10 pick. You got to be a stone cold first round pick to declare, in my opinion. Like, no doubt, no Marvin Harrison Jr., Paris Johnson, no chance you're going to slip. But yeah, I mean, a lot of these guys, I mean, they're probably wishing that they could do the NFL thing and come back to, if you're not drafted, or if there's somewhere where if you're not drafted, you could come back and play again. But I don't know how that would ever work. I don't think it would ever work. But yeah, I mean, Will Hard's out. He's going to make less money this year than he did this past year for Ohio State. So I like it because, again, I like the product of Ohio State football and college football right now better than any point in time ever, because I think that kids are going to wake up. Kids are going to stay longer. I think that there was a time when Urban Meyer was actually the head coach, that there were guys that were jumping in that had no business going to the league. Like, I mean, they just wanted to get out of here. Jalen Marshall, some of these guys, they were just like, they couldn't take it. 3 and out. And there was this mindset where I got to get to the league. I got to be 3 and out. But, like Quinn Ewers probably lost $9 million, by not staying for another year of college, which is crazy. And he still hasn't been picked. So it's a whole different layer that didn't exist. And again, I love it because you know why I love it? Because it's great for Ohio State. This is excellent for Ohio State because there's going to be kids that jump in that portal that we can go add, like Ethan Onyanwa, who's an outstanding left tackle, and he's going to be one of the best tackles in the country. And he's our left tackle now. He's not at Rice anymore. And that's great for the Buckeyes. It sucks for Rice, but we don't have Rice Scoop. We have Buckeye Scoop. And the Buckeyes being great is great for us. And it's also great for you. So with that being said, Nevada, let's wrap this thing up. Any final thoughts?
Well, now all we got to do is go in and hope Yoder pays his bets. So we should probably have a separate line on whether Yoder's actually going to pay off his bet or not from the thing. So,
I know, I got to go back and watch that episode. Oh my God.
What do you think?
Find it.
Yeah, you got to go find it, send it to him.
I know it was during the episode because I think it was right at the end because I got that spike, in my adrenaline. I'm like, God, I just bet $1,000 on something. And it's like, but I felt so good about it.
We memorialized the bet with him like last Saturday in writing. So it was
I know. Oh, we know. I sent the text. And if he would have said, I never agreed to that or something, which I know he did because the last time I talked to him, because it had to have been a time when I talked with him and you at the same time. So it's like, the only time this ever happens is when we podcast. And we had a podcast, I think it was me, you, and him and Spiro, maybe. I mean, this was months ago. This was a long time ago. Because we haven't had one where it was just me, you, and Yoder in a long time. So I'll go digging through the archives to find that. Because it's on our YouTube channel somewhere. Yoder and Spiro.
You work, my brother. Yeah, great day for the Buckeyes, man. Great day for the Buckeyes. Let's get that 15th. Seth's got to get picked, man. I'm waiting for his name to be called.
I know. It would be amazing if the Steelers took him. Damn it, they took Carson Bruner from Washington. That would have been amazing. Could you imagine if they had taken Jax, Will, and Seth?
They got another pick coming up. They got another pick coming up at 229. So hope springs eternal.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and when you have a guy who's hurt like he is, you can put him on IR. I mean, I don't know how far along he is on the recovery, but I don't know if they want to put him on IR for the year, but you could with a guy with an Achilles. So, well, cool. All right, well, let's wrap this thing up. Again, I appreciate you guys. Happy Saturday. I hope you guys had a great day and a great time with us today. If you enjoy our content, please leave us a like, click subscribe, also click that little alert bell. Again, I appreciate you guys for being with us each and every day. Join BuckeyeScoop.com. We are doing full analysis of where everyone landed, and what a great day for these Buckeyes. I'm so happy for these guys. Just amazing stuff. Oh, Carson Bruner, I bet that's the Steelers. I think his dad was the tight end for the Steelers, so that's probably why they took him. So there you go. So again, if you guys want to help us out in a big way, give us a follow on Apple Podcasts. Again, I appreciate you so much for all of you that have done that. Leave us a 5-star review as well. Helps people find it. Because we're the #1 podcast, and it's not even close anymore, and we appreciate you guys because it's all because of you. So with that being said, thank you so much, Buckeye Nation. Thank you, Scoop family. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow. See you at 7:10. Go Bucks.